Hi guys, you're welcome to my channel. My name is Pamela and this is PamelaWorld. In today's video, I have some amazing scholars with me under the Jica and JDS scholarships, and they'll be telling us a lot about the application process. So if you are interested in studying in Japan and you could not apply for the mixed scholarship, there's still hope for you. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel, and do also turn on the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when I upload new videos. So we'll start with an introduction. Since everyone already knows my name, who wants to go first?
Okay, which is good.
Sure, that's fine.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Olayemi Akongbe. I'm from Nigeria. I'm currently studying international economics here in Hiroshima University. It's a pleasure to be here, and I look forward to sharing some insights with my amazing colleagues here.
Great.
Good morning from Asia.
Good morning.
I'm Suleiman Abdel Salam from Ghana. Currently in the economics program at the economics department. I'm from Ghana, and I think that's okay for now.
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning from Hiroshima.
Good morning.
I'm Esther Adoma Mankwa from Ghana, studying international economics program. I'm here to share some insights about the scholarship with you all.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, good morning. My name is Baweli Ali from Nigeria. I'm currently a PhD student in economics department at Hiroshima University. I'll be pleased to share some valuable information on how you can apply for PhD scholarship or in fact any other scholarship in Japan.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you very much, Ali.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I am Mansour Salisu Dandalla. I'm from Nigeria, currently in the Bioresource Department, Graduate School of Integrated Sciences for Life, Hiroshima University. I'm pleased to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. It's good to have you all. I want to ask, how are you enjoying your life here in Japan? I know it's very cold, but how are you enjoying life? How is it going for you?
It's manageable.
He said manageable.
Every Ghanaian will say it's manageable. Even if it is not,
Okay.
it is manageable.
Right.
It's manageable.
Okay. Yemi?
I think it's awesome. Maybe a bit more than manageable. I mean, it was tough in the beginning, but now I would say I'm becoming more of a landlord here.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's awesome. It's been awesome.
Okay. Is
Well,
that?
life in Japan, I would say, is very interesting
Mm.
because changing of environment, the culture, everything is awesome. So it's good to be in Japan, I will
Nice.
say.
Well, like my brother has said, it is manageable. Of course, moving from temperate region in Africa coming to Japan, where they have a lot of winter,
Right.
yeah, you have to manage the situation. What he means is that you have to manage the situation.
Yeah.
Yes, but above all, I think it will be a very wonderful experience to enjoy the weather here in Japan.
Okay. Thank you, Matthew.
Well, I would go with a number of them here. For me, it's interesting.
Mm.
However, at the beginning, it's tough.
Tough,
So we're still trying to survive.
That's good. Okay, so next, I want you guys to tell us a little about your scholarships. I know you are all JICA scholarship beneficiaries. However, you are all under different divisions. So could you tell us briefly about which division you are on? I'll start with Salam.
Okay. I'm under the JDS scholarship. That's for the PhD program. Do I have to go detail on how to go about it?
Oh, we'll get to that.
Yes. So
Okay.
basically, I am under
JDS. It's also under Jica.
It's under Jica.
Okay. Yemi?
Okay, so I'm on the ABE initiative, which basically means, okay, so fun fact, most people would say, oh, maybe it was named after the former Prime Minister. Yeah, maybe that was one of the ideas, but anyways, the full meaning of ABE is African Business Education Initiative. So some of the, I mean, it has like lots of objectives, but one of the major objectives of ABE is to foster a relationship between companies in Africa and companies in Japan, right? Which kind of informs what they expect of you if you're coming under ABE initiative. I think we'll
Get to that,
deeper into
yeah.
that much later on.
Okay, thank you. Esther?
Yeah, me too. I'm on a JDS scholarship.
Oh, okay.
That's master's program.
Okay. Ali, you?
Well, for me, I can say I'm wearing 2 caps.
Wow.
Well, at one time I'm under IB initiative program.
Okay.
But I'm happy my brother is here, so I will leave anything that has to do with IB for him to discuss. And currently now I'm under Sustainable Development Goals, or rather SDG scholarship.
Also under Jica?
Yes, under Jica.
Mansour?
Yes, for me, I'm under a subsect of Jica, which is called Agrinet.
Agrinet.
And the full meaning is Agricultural Studies Network for Food Security.
Wow.
So this scholarship was introduced to support the Sustainable Development Goal number 2, which is to end hunger and also provide food security. And it also to help Japan achieve one of its global goals, which is also in agricultural development and sustainable peace. So this is Agrinet, and this is the scholarship I have.
Okay. So Agrinet, JDS, ABE, SDG, how did you hear about these scholarships? I mean, how did you know about them? I'll start with Aliyu.
Well, depending on the country you are, there are different channels where you can get the information. Like for SDG, in some countries, they announce from Jica website. So every citizen of that country can actually apply when he meet the scholarship requirement. Whereas in some other countries, like in Nigeria, the Jica office, they selected a specific organization and they send them a nomination form directly. So it is the organization that will nominate you. Yes, so that is how the scholarship is. So it depends actually on the country you are. So I think the best thing is for somebody to find out the process of knowing the information from his country.
From his country, okay.
Yeah.
And are you in the public sector or private sector?
Yes, of course, SDG scholarship is purely for public sector.
Public sector.
Yeah, I did not explain the detail about the scholarship. Maybe later I can explain so that people can understand who can apply and who should not apply for SDG scholarship.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So Esther, how did you hear about this scholarship?
Yeah, I heard it. I saw it on a company's platform.
Oh.
Yeah, it was advertised on a company's platform.
Oh, I see.
So I think the officials went round within the company. They set a date. So those who were interested, we met with them and they explained the details to us and the way we can apply. That's how I got to know. But normally, after applying, I got to know that on their website too, you can Google it. Then all the application, everything can be done online. Yeah.
Okay, I see. Salam, how did you hear about this?
How did I hear about this? I'm taking it from where Esther ended. For my slot, before you can become a PhD scholar under JDS, you should have been a JDS scholar.
Okay.
And so that's why I'm taking it from where Esther ended. So you must have enjoyed a JDS scholarship for master's program. After the master's, you get back and then and you serve your institution. It's also, JDS is basically for public sector or government workers, if I put it that way. So
Okay.
after getting your opportunity to study for the masters, you're on study leave, you come back, at least you serve more than half of the requirement of the study leave
Oh.
before you can get opportunity to be a PhD scholar.
Scholar.
However, with a PhD scholarship, once you are a JDS scholar, you are in their database.
Okay.
So when they see that you have now served more than half or about 75 or 70% of your study leave, JDS now sends you an email. Because the PhD slot is the PhD opportunity is just one slot for Ghana JDS.
Wow.
Just only one slot. So they deal with the several numbers of Jica, JDS scholars who have returned and have served about 3 or 4 years.
Yes.
So they personally send you email because you are now in their database. So for me, explaining whatever, I think I'll always be continuing for where Esther will be ending.
Ending, right?
You are supposed to
Finish
enjoy
the masters,
Esther's slot before you can qualify for the PhD. So in this particular session, I'll be continuing from where Esther
ends.
Okay.
So you me?
Okay, so not to take so much time, I was just trying to summarize how I heard about the scholarship. So my company, I work with an innovation technology company in Nigeria. We used to implement a couple of projects for Jica, right? And we've implemented some successful projects for them. And I think it was on that back note they decided to give my company an opportunity to nominate 2 people for the scholarship, right? So that's literally how I got to know about the scholarship. Yeah.
So what about you?
Well, for me, just like what Ali has said, in Nigeria, generally Jica scholarship is for selected organizations. I also work with a public institution. I work with a research institute, and so this call for nomination was sent to my organization, and I was nominated from my organization.
Okay. So the next question is, who qualifies for this JDS scholarship? So first of all, I've learned that you have to be in the private sector and you have to be nominated. But what other qualifications are required for you to get?
You have to be in a public sector.
Public sector,
A
government institution.
So,
Okay.
you JDS,
JDS. JDS first.
JDS first, okay.
SDGs. So
Yeah.
SDGs, JDS, go ahead.
I'll continue from where
Where
I started.
Okay, eligibility for JDS. First, you have to be a public servant.
Okay.
Not all public servants, because under JDS, education is not part, what I know. Like they pick from various institutions. As we came, it was about 6 institutions. We are 13 in number.
Okay.
And 2 from each institution. So making 6 institutions. That's, I think,
And 1 PhD.
and 1 PhD. He too comes from an institution.
I see.
So at least one of the institution might be 3 because of PhD.
PhD.
Yeah, I think they have the energy ministry, the health, agric, trade and industry, the Bank of Ghana. They have members from Bank of Ghana and the local government.
I
Yeah.
see.
That's the 6 institutions. So for eligibility, you have to be 40 years. That's the maximum age.
Okay.
And 40 years, you have to, let me say, if you come, the application starts from December, November.
Okay.
Then you come the ensuing year.
Okay.
That's the following.
The following
If I
year.
take 2024, for instance,
Okay.
it starts from
No.
October, November 2023.
23. Wow. So
Then-
this is the time.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I think the closing date has ended. It was around for this year, it was around 22nd November.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was the
last
deadline.
week.
Yeah, for
Okay.
the application. Then if you are 39 by April next year, if you are up to 40 years, you qualify.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
So, public servants, and you have to work for, let me say, 3 years
3 years.
as a permanent staff,
Okay. Not a contract staff.
not contract,
Okay.
permanent. Then I think the eligibility, I would say you are eligible to apply. Yeah.
Okay. So Salam,
Okay,
continue
so-
from where it
Continuing from where I started, like she was explaining, for the master's program, you must not be beyond 40 years at by 1st April of the year of traveling to Japan. So you must be 40 or below. Yes, and then you should have also served 3 or 4 years in your institution. This particular situation is to ensure that you will have qualified for a steady leave when leaving. So for the other institutions it's 3 years, Bank of Ghana is 4 years. You get it? So with that number of years of service, if you are nominated or you are qualified for that, that means that you are qualified for a steady leave with pay. And so the institutions are grouped in about 4 or 5 categories. The security services are not bad, but you have the rural development. That's the way they have grouped it, and they are focusing on health. That's one aspect. You have Agrinet, Ministry of Trade, Ghana Statistical Service, Bank of Ghana, Energy Ministry, and another institution like that. And so these institutions are being grouped into 4 categories. They are looking at manpower development, energy development, rural and health and what human resources. That's the way they categorize them. So out of this grouping, they are supposed to have about 12 students who will be taken to about 4 or 6 different institutions in Japan, depending upon your area of expertise. Yes. So basically, this is what happens. But the process of JDS scholarship, it is a mixed bag, if I would describe it that way. You must be very patient and very, very determined. Because patient in a sense that it is a very long process. At a point, you may think that you have been forgotten of. No. Once you qualify, you'll be contacted. The process first is about them opening nominations, putting that on their websites, and also sending flyers to all the institutions that are under the program. Beyond that, they still have a orientation or maybe a webinar, if I would describe it that way. They travel to northern region sometimes is Tamale, or they go to Bolga, or they go to Wa. In Accra, they look at the institutions that they are supposed to go to. Maybe if it is a Bank of Ghana, they go to Bank of Ghana, they go to Trade Ministry, they go to Energy Ministry, just to have interaction with the staff and also introduce them to the program. So they have a deadline that you are supposed to fill in the form, which must be endorsed by your HR. Your human resource officer should endorse that. Then you, with the master's program, you are supposed to have a proposal, and then the school that you want to, then that is sent to JDS. Some of the institutions require that you write a quantitative exam, that's a maths exam. Once others require you write IELTC, an English program, they require that. So I think in the very moment the closing date is announced, I think a week later you meet in Accra for the maths exam, those who are supposed to have the maths exam. So the maths exam is the first step that is used to see the number of applicants. From that stage, you are told whether you are qualified or not. If you are qualified, you move to the next stage. So if you qualify, the next stage is to have an interview session. And this interview section is done by the institutions or the university, the professors of the university that you want to go to. They come to Ghana, and then you are interviewed based on your proposal. Then from there, it is again sealed. If you qualify, you are moving to the next stage, and that is where you'll be going for the medical
No,
checkup.
I think you go for the medical. In our case, after the exams,
You go for the
they sealed it, and we went for the medical.
Medicals, okay.
So after the medicals, then you have the technical interview with the professors.
Okay,
So that place too, they see.
okay.
Then you go for the final interview section.
So that's why I said Esther, because our time, it is the technical interview where your research proposal is assessed. If you qualify, then you go for the medical exam.
Okay.
After the medical exam, you are called for the medical exam sometimes it's not announced whether you are qualified, because it is a set of numbers or a group of a particular number that they pick. Maybe if they need 2 people from you, but about 4 or 6 people
Normally 6.
will go for the medical exam. So from there, the final interview is done by the JDS operating committee. It
Okay.
is made up of most chief directors from the ministries.
Okay.
You see that?
So let me cut you short and also let Ali talk about who qualifies for his
Okay.
SDG in this country.
I think the process, the methodology, and who qualifies is across the board. Whether
Okay.
you are JDS, you are IB, you are SDG, you are Agrinet. Basically, who qualifies is almost the same, and the requirement is almost the same. So, like what Suleiman has said, the only thing that I will add in terms of the requirement is about educational qualifications.
Okay.
Is one of the key requirements. Like if you are going for masters, your first degree transcript. If you are going for PhD, your second degree transcript. And the issue of nominating organizations.
Okay.
You cannot, one of the key requirements is that your organization must nominate you. Because if your organization did not nominate you, I don't know, Jica might not necessarily consider your application. So, and the second thing that they have talked about the age and issue of number of years you spend in your current job. So I think these are some, of course, medical fitness.
Okay.
They are among the, then your test, your research plan
Okay.
is very, very important, and is one of the key when it comes screening and filtering.
Okay.
Your research proposal has to be well doctored in order for you to get it.
I
Yes.
see. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Esther, you wanted
yeah.
to say something?
Yeah, please, I want to make some clarification.
Okay, go ahead.
With JDS,
Okay.
he said all JICA scholarships are nomination,
Okay.
but with JDS it's not nomination.
Oh, okay.
Nobody nominates you.
Nominate.
You feel willingly apply
Okay.
and you go through the process. If you are picked, you are
You
given
are given.
with
Okay.
JDS.
But you also have to meet the other requirements.
Yeah, other requirements is the
Okay.
same, but only the nomination
It's different.
with JDS is not part of, it's not nomination.
All
And
right.
also to add to that,
Okay.
with what I explained, that's for the masters.
That's what the master is.
Yes, for the PhD, you will not go through that process again.
Okay.
But there are some technical differences. Here is how it goes about. With the PhD one, earlier when I said you are already in their database,
Okay.
you have qualified. So the PhD, you have to write a proposal, and then you have to get a supervisor outside the university you want to in Japan. Any university you want to study for your PhD. You see the differences here. For the masters, the JDS will pick your once you have qualified, JDS will get admission for you.
For you, okay.
But for the PhD, you are supposed to get a supervisor who's willing to supervise you as a PhD scholar. Your supervisor will write a confidential reference or recommendation to Jica JDS in Japan. Jica JDS, yes, in Japan.
Okay.
They will send the recommendation to the Jica office in Tokyo.
Okay.
And then Tokyo will notify Ghana,
Ghana.
JDS, that your supervisor has written a recommendation, agreed to supervise you.
So they should bring you.
They will not, that's not the end.
Wow.
Now JDS will now call you for a medical. So you, from the PhD, you only join the master student during their medical process. Because the first process and whatever, you have done that before.
Already.
So you join them for the medical reason. And once it's one slot, you can have 4 or 5 of you.
Ooh.
Yes. It's for a PhD, the difficulty is to get a supervisor. So sometimes you get frustrated. You can be there 2-3 days to the deadline before the supervisor will agree and then recommend.
Wow.
Once there's no recommendation from any supervisor, you are totally disqualified.
Wow.
So 4 people or 5 are chosen for the medical. Then the final interview, just like they also have it, you go.
Okay.
And in that particular one, you are ranked. If you're high, if you have the highest score, you are first, second, third, fourth. So now, first, second, third, fourth, you are told this is your position.
Okay.
If the first
Person.
is able to secure admission, he's going. But if you are the first in Ghana and you've not been able to secure admission, the opportunity goes to the second person.
Ooh.
Yes.
Such a competition.
Yes. So that is the issue about PhD. For the masters, once you have qualified, you are rest assured that you are
They will
going.
find you a
Yes,
school.
and I earlier on spoke about you have to be very patient. With the JDS thing, the final selection is done in March. At least by 10 to 12 March, you have been told that you have qualified. You'll be going to Japan as a master's student. But the process again will start somewhere June, July, August.
You'll be silent.
Very silent. So sometimes you will think that
You are not going anywhere.
so you have to be very patient.
Patient. Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Yemi, could you also tell us about the Agrinet Scholarship? Who qualifies and the process and the documents as well?
For who qualify? Okay, so I think I'll be speaking from a different perspective.
Yes.
For the private sector.
Yeah.
So for the private sector, so initially apparently ABE used to be solely for public sector, but I think to some extent maybe Jica also realized that for them to achieve some of the objectives, private sector are very integral to achieving the major objectives of the program. So I think it's set before mine. They started including a lot of private sectors because I mean they work with private sectors in Nigeria, so it's only just right to maybe extend that courtesy to them, right? So for private sector, it's quite similar to government sector. They will send a nomination to your company, but I think they also put some things into consideration. Whoever the company would be nominating must have handled a project for Jica in Nigeria. That means you understand their way of doing things. So they need someone that has like extensive knowledge. So your company can just because also apparently with some of the government sector too, they've had some issues where maybe people just nominate people who are not eligible and all that. So they've put some of those checks in place that if your company is nominating you, we actually should also know you, not just the company. You must have handled the project successfully for us that you've implemented, and we've seen that okay, this was successful to a great extent. So we understand that you're more than capable enough to, viable to study abroad, something like that. So for private sector, they send the nomination, and then the company would send the names of the applicants, right? Then from there, the process becomes the same with the public sector. However, with the processes, the way it goes is like this. The first stage is the documents evaluation. Like Ali earlier said, they will check your education qualification. If you're master's, do you have your bachelor's? They will check all of those documents. They would ask you to submit your transcript and every other thing. With that first stage, there's no more scrutiny. They literally just, weeding out people who are not like viable enough. So it's not so much trouble. However, for the second stage, I think that's where it gets really, really interesting. That's where they do the technical interview with you. So the technical interview it's being conducted by Jica office in Nigeria. They basically just ask you some questions and mostly about your research proposal. Right. So for ABE, I don't know if it's the same for public sector, but for private sector, they are very keen on our on the proposal. So they need to see that okay, this proposal, because ideally they give each country for a slot
Yeah.
every year.
Yeah.
But Nigerian gets the highest slots in
Oh.
Africa, yeah. Every year we always dispatch the highest number apparently.
But you have the highest population.
It's only fair, yeah.
Yeah, maybe we're just exceptional.
You have the highest population.
So they always give each country slots. So most of the Jica, so in Jica Nigeria office, they try to always maximize this opportunity.
Okay.
So which
You
means
have the highest
they don't, if they're giving them 30, they want to ensure that the 30 that they are processing will get the admission. So their technical interview is very intensive. So they need to be sure that, okay, we are vouching for you, we're sending your documents to Japan. So after you pass the technical interview, the third stage, I think that's where they get to now drop many people, because that's not down to Jica anymore now. They're not sending your documents to, okay, you would be given opportunity to pick 3 universities. So they send the documents to those 3 universities, whichever one accepts you first choice, second choice, they will get back to you. So in my experience, I think this is the stage where people get dropped mostly, right? So they get to maybe some university, they don't like your research plan and all that, so they will not get back to you, right? Then the 4th stage is what Jica calls internal screening. So like I said, it's more like a lottery at this point.
Wow.
They have quota for 20 students, but they are sending 30 applicants. So if 30 applicants are successful, Jica has to do their own internal screening amongst themselves to drop 10
10 and
so that they're able to
20.
take 20.
Wow.
How they do that, the process, I wouldn't say it's transparent enough. I don't know how they go about that, but they call it internal check screening. However, another important thing to really also add to this is, prior to, okay, when I actually got to hear about Jica scholarship and all that, we used to think, okay, the company has to nominate you. So that means if your company is not even working with Jica, you're automatically disqualified. However, that's not the case.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I have a friend who actually just, not like a friend, an acquaintance who actually just got to Japan last year. And our company doesn't even know anything about Jica.
Wow.
She only got to, she got to hear about this Jica scholarship from me and a couple of other people, right? And what she did was to just apply directly. Like she sent a mail to one of Jica's official, oh, I heard about this scholarship. I work with this international organization in Nigeria, this is what we do. I think I could be a viable scholar under your program. I've checked the objective. I think my company is more than capable enough to, like, shooting your shots.
She put herself out there.
Shooting your shots straight
Wow.
up. There are actually two people that I know that do this. Yeah.
Wow.
The other lady too, she works with renewable energy company. They just literally shot their shot at Jica. And Jica was like, oh, okay, unfortunately, this is not the application time. However, we'll keep you in check, and could you also send us email, maybe emails to this time to remind us? So what Jica did was to send nominations to their company.
Wow.
They've never worked with their company,
Wow.
but they were just impressed by, their approach and the fact that they were able to make a good case for themselves, right? So I'm sure some of those exceptions would always come in place. It's just about you knowing what you want and
putting yourself out there
for it. So, and they told them they're already here in Japan.
Japan studying. Wow, that's good. I want to also tell us about your qualifications. Agrinet is new to me. And tell us a little about the process. Is it the same? What is the difference?
Yeah, Agrinet is actually new, and I think it's just 3 years in Nigeria, if I'm correct. And of course, generally for Jica, some of the processes are the same. However, there are a number of differences. Again, particularly for Agrinet, the organization or the individual has to be someone who is working, who is a young or an upcoming, a mid-career government official under the agri sector. It has to be someone who is in the academia.
So in the academia?
Yes, in under agri. And then there are some private organizations who are considered, but those private organizations have to be those that have to do with policies that affect agriculture, or those who work under agri-value change, agricultural development, livestock development, and so on and so forth. So these are those considered. Now for masters, the age during my time of process, the age for masters is 35 or under, and for PhD is 40 or under. And then again, you have to, for PhD, just like somebody has said, for PhD, you must secure a supervisor.
Just like Salam said.
Yes, you must secure a supervisor. If you do not have a supervisor, you could pass the processes, but without a supervisor, you're going nowhere.
Wow.
So what is very key for anybody who is interested in the PhD program, I think you begin to connect with a supervisor if you have interest in coming to Japan for PhD. Because I know someone who we did the process together, but of course he couldn't secure a supervisor's response, and that was the end. And for me, even Salama said, it got to a point that I almost felt nothing was going to come. Wow. And then just a one-line response from the supervisor came, and I forwarded to Jica. That was
it. Wow. That was very slippery.
Yeah, it's just, and another thing is that you have to have the English proficiency test.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a band score of 6.5 for IELTS, which is, because in our own case, IELTS is mostly considered in Nigeria. I do not know for TOEFL, it depends on the university as well. Yeah, and then very importantly, you have to have your qualifications, which is key. If you're going for masters, you have to have your undergraduate certificate and transcript. If you're going for PhD, you have to have your master's certificate and transcript. And of course, you have to be a national of the country from which you are applying from. Yes. And you must be physical. You must be physically available for the program when you eventually make it. So I think basically these are some of the things and then a passport, very important.
Your passport. Thank you. And also the proposal must be solid.
Proposal must be solid. Yeah, that reminds me, I wanted to talk about something like that. One key thing I got to know that Jica also considered from your proposal, it must be structured, and it also has to have some business opportunities between your country and Japan at the end of the program. I remember this is, my application was for the second time. The first time I was nominated by an organization, but my proposal does not have such aspects of economic value between Nigeria and Japan. And that was the reason for my rejection.
Wow.
Because I was opportune to be told that you did very well at all levels, but your proposal does not fit in some of the business opportunities we have, so please try again later. And then the nomination came the second time. My organization nominated me again.
Wow.
And I went, of course, but this time,
well prepared.
I have solid. So that's all about it.
Thank you.
Experience is the best.
Yeah, experience was your best teacher.
Just to quickly add to what you said, right? I think, okay, oftentimes in Jica, they always reserve the right not to disclose what you're rejected. But if you're fortunate like him, to hear why your application did not get through, you can actually work on it. And I think some of those insights will come in handy for people who are looking to apply, so they can put their best foot forward. Just in addition, for Abby, like I said, the primary objective is just to stimulate relationships between Japanese companies and Nigerian companies. The ambassador of Japan to Nigeria would always tell you that, the contrast between Nigeria and Japan, our population is increasing rapidly. Japan is declining rapidly. So they need more of some sort of exchange between these two. So they're solely focused on how you clearly want to get Japanese companies to come and set up operation in Nigeria. And how there could be some sort of technology transfer as well. So your proposal, like rightly said, clearly needs to be detailed and explains how you intend to achieve this process. But you can always leverage on your company. Whatever it is that your company do, I mean, I'm sure there are always going to be opportunities for collaboration with Japanese companies.
Okay, I think let me add from what you have said. My PR Mansur is very careful not to mention my name. But to be honest, I think he's referring to me. I applied for PhD. I passed all the process, but I could not get a supervisor for some reason, and I could not get it. And the second year, I got the supervisor and I'm here.
Wow, that's good.
So let me add to what my brother has said. Of course, even if you pass all the screening process, if the number of your country are more than what Jica allocated to them, they have to filter it out. Even if you pass everything.
Wow.
So how do they do it? Because for me, I have some close link with Jica I knew.
Is the chairman of Agrinet Africa,
Wow.
which is like a network of all art-based scholars.
So this is what they do. They rank based on your performance. So if 20 pass and they are looking for 10, they just rank. The first 10 they select them.
Oh.
But again, there is another requirement.
Okay.
Normally, Jica, every year they have objectives. And the objective I keep on changing. Probably this year the focus is on agri or health. Then the numbers they will select, they will come more from health sector.
Okay.
Well, like when you look at this year student that came from Nigeria, you realize most of them are from agri and health sector or related people. But when we came firstly, it's more bank, statistic and the rest of that. So what am I trying to say with that? For you to get any of the scholarship, whether IB, SDG, JDS, Agrinet, the most important is for you to know what is the objective of the scholarship.
For the year.
For the year. Because each scholarship has objectives.
Okay.
Then when you know the objectives, then you try to align your research proposal to that objective. I'm trying to bring out what Mr. Mansur is saying, that you have to link. Because the objective, for example, IB initiative or IB scholarship is to link Japanese business and Africa. So your research proposal must have some element of that collaboration. And again, connecting with your supervisor. So you have to do two things. Your research has to be aligned with the sponsor objectives and also has to be aligned with your supervisor area of interest.
Wow.
You have to create that balance. Otherwise, you can miss this one, focus on that one, and you can lose. Because the two must agree with you to get the scholarship. And how do we know that? We have to read the scholarship document page by page, paragraph by paragraph, sentence by sentence. I realize some of us, we are very lazy when it comes to...
We don't like reading.
We don't like reading. One of my friends is telling me that he sent a scholarship application to his friend, and the friend now called him and asked him, when is the deadline? When the deadline is there in
the document, imagine.
Where am I going to submit the document? When the address is
already there.
With Jica, you have to read.
You can imagine. How can that person secure that scholarship?
Yeah.
So, understanding the document, for you to know what is the objective, then align the objective with your research plan is very, very important. And if you fail to do that, forget about it. You are not going to get the scholarship because we that we got it, we know how we.
You managed to get it.
Yes, we have to dedicate our time to understand all the documents and try to align our objective with them. So, and there is no second way. So that's just my advice. Yeah.
Okay. So as Aliyu said, make sure you align your proposal to that of your supervisor and also to the objectives of the scholarship you are applying for. One thing I want to talk about is the interview. How can you prepare very well for the interview, especially for someone who is timid, is not very confident to speak in front of people? Because the interview also involves defending the proposal you have written. How can one go about it? Salam, would you start for us?
Okay, so like they all said, if you're able to go through the Jica process and you are successful, indirectly it tells you that you can live in Japan. is Jica processes is just an interface in life in Japan. They are very critical in that you need to read. Instructions and other things might be followed. So if you have written your proposal and then you are called to defend that, basically the first thing I would want us to know that is to try to tell the panel what actually you have done or what you have written, and also to let them know that indeed you are the one who have written that. You see that? Even if it is a paragraph that you've written, go and then explain to them, and they will know that that is actually you did that, and when you are given opportunity, you can do it.
Okay.
So basically, that is how it is. So go talk to them about the novelty, why you think what you have written it must be studied, and what would be the benefit for both countries. It's a win-win affair.
Okay.
All the scholarships that we are going through or whatever, Japan is not for that Christmas. It's a bilateral agreement between two countries, and it is a win-win affair. They win, you win, your country wins. So you become an interface between Japan and your country. So your project or your proposal should be something of benefit to both countries. And go and explain it very well.
Okay.
For the technical person interview, is also looking at your technical ability, how to go about that process and others. Yes.
Thank you. Esther.
I will add for the technical interview for JDS Masters. I think that's where the selection comes from.
Okay.
Although you go through all the interviews, but what I experienced, I think even the final interview that's made up of the head of institutions and the big people in Jica and all the plenty people that they will sit as panel. I think the technical interview selects you first, because the technical interview is not a panel.
Okay.
It's one-on-one with the supervisor or the professor from Japan that will meet you, and it's solely on your proposal. He will ask you questions on your proposal. He will try to understand your proposal. So how you can explain your proposal to him, for him to know that it falls within their scope. Then he picks you, and if you are lucky, the one who comes, if you come to his school or the university that he's come from and he picks you, likely you can be his student.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think the selection,
His or her student.
his or her student, yeah. The selection is solely, I think, is coming from the proposal and the recommendation from the professor.
Okay.
So I think if the professor picks you, I don't think the final interview can reject you.
Reject you. Wow. Okay.
So if you want JDS, you should concentrate much
On your proposal.
on your proposal, because if you qualify for the exams, that's my case, we wrote mass exams.
Okay.
Then after the mass exams, then they schedule, we went for medical. I think the technical interview or medical, anyone can. So after the technical interview, the medicals comes, then the final, but I think the final interview, just for them to know that you are okay, they prepare your mind for going, whether you are prepared enough to leave or change environment.
Okay.
But the solely is your proposal.
Yes,
Okay.
so to add to that, the mass exam is written in Ghana,
Yeah.
but it is marked in Japan.
Yeah. Yes.
I must be very clear with people.
Wow.
I just want us to demystify that
So you
particular
don't
because
think
people
you know
think
the-
that.
Yeah.
That's why I said if you are going through the Jica thing, you must be very patient. And don't be in a hurry to do one or two things like we always do in Africa. After the exams, you think there's something we call protocol list. Never. Never. Like if you are done with the exam, if you are outside the crowd, you came for the exam, you are done, they give you a lot of fare. The fare gives you a lot of fare, you go back. You go. Whatever it is, you get an email or a call to qualify. The scripts are taken to Japan. It's written in November, brought in I think by by December, January, the results are back. If you have, you have qualified the first 10, every category, they choose 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 out of that. You see that? So on the aspect of the technical interview where Esther spoke about, yes, so you can have a scenario where 5 people have their technical proposal very good, but in that particular area they need to. So that's why now the JDS operating committee wants to now see 5 of you come to prove yourself. You 5 have been chosen, but 1, 2. So that's where you have to go and prove to them, and then rank you. So that is it.
Let me bring a funny story.
Okay.
He said in Ghana, like when I decided to apply for this scholarship, I discussed with a friend, and he told me, Esther, the scholarship in Ghana, the whole energy sector, picking 2 people from the energy sector. This one, the big man has already picked their people, so don't worry yourself. And I told their explanation, I don't think so. So with JDS, it's no hand.
No hand. It's strictly by merit.
Strictly by merit. So no influence. Everything you do, even the Ghana officials don't have hands in it. Everything is, when you do exams today, back to Japan. Japan market brings it back. So it's genuine. 100% genuine. Yeah.
Okay. Aliyu, do you have something to say?
Well, for me, what I would add when we talk about the issue of interview, of course, interview is one of the very important stage in Japan scholarship, because the issue is that the number that will reach interview stage are more than the number they are going to select. So you need to prove yourself that I can do it. I can do it. Because there is a thinking, research proposals, your brother can write it for you. No.
That's
true. You can talk to your supervisor to help you edit. You can even pay for edition and the rest of that. So, but at that interview stage, that is when you can prove yourself that this document, I am the owner of this document. So now, what does it entail to pass the interview? The first thing is actually about preparation. You need to prepare very, very well. And the second thing is about the objective of the interview. You need to know what is the interview objectives. Are they going to assess your research proposal, or are they going to assess your understanding of the scholarship scheme? You need to understand the objectives. And the next thing is about the internet connectivity.
It was online?
Yeah, most of the interview are online, and you realize your internet connectivity is very, very poor. They cannot hear you, you cannot hear them. So it's part of the preparation to know which connection is strong, where can I get a strong internet. Even the background is all part of the preparation. Again, appearance. Your appearance is very, very critical and important.
You should wear a suit?
Not really. You don't need to wear a suit or whatever, but then you just need to look formal.
Okay.
And last one is about your confidence.
Your confidence. Very.
Because if you go to interview but you are not sure of, I can do it, I can defend it, then once they start asking you questions, then you start, shivering, and then, oh, this guy is not that confident. So, like I said, these are the basic things that we need to prepare. And you can even ask your colleague, your sister, okay, I'm going for this interview. Let me do it before you. You can ask me questions, right? So from there, you try to plan yourself and even to know the time for this interview. Is it 10 minutes, 5 minutes? Then you can design your presentation within that time scope. Yeah, so I think this is the strategy that I think
Think would help.
we can adopt so we can get to Japan next year.
Thank you. Yemi, what do you have to say about interview?
I like that Ali has provided a couple of insights related to how best to prepare for the interview. Like I already said, preparation is the first critical thing that you have to do. So I would also speak from two perspectives again now. So from the private sector, like I said earlier, they would usually know you. So usually for us, the interview, it's not really that deep because you just go in there, they're like familiar faces already. You introduce yourself, you even throw light banter, like, oh, what's up, how's the day going today, and all that, right? However, as much as they understand your technical capabilities, they are now more interested in your research proposal. That's what they will grill you on the most. You must have submitted your proposal already, right?
Yeah.
So you read through it, they must have written their own questions down. Everyone is always at the interview, the country representative, the senior SR, and all of them. They actually just ask, oh, Yemi-san, in your research proposal, you talked about this, why do you think this is so? Right? They're really more interested to see if you actually have an understanding of what you've written. And they always have someone from maybe academia in their panel sessions. So someone like that brings some sort of perspective to the table. They're well prepared. Very well prepared.
So you also
guys.
have to be well
So you also have to
prepared.
be well prepared for them too, right? So they throw some of these questions at you to just see that, okay, you have a good understanding of what you've written down. So the second perspective is if your company has not worked with Jica before, you have lots of lot of work to do because they don't know you, they don't know about your company. So that means they are also more interested in your technical capabilities. But if they work with your company, they wouldn't really grill you so much about it because they know that you are good. You've done a good job for them before. But if you're new to them, they are more interested in your research and your technical capabilities. They need to see that, okay, what exactly have you done? Why do you think you're even deserving of this position, right? And also on a lighter note, right, Japanese people are also very big on culture, like you would agree with me, right? So the program, Abe is more interested about you coming to also learn about Japanese business culture. The ambassador would always say, if you don't understand our way of doing things, how do you think you're able to convince my people to come to your country? They need to see that, okay, this person is also one of us. And the ambassador is always big on saying, I'm not saying go to Japan, drop your country's culture, adopt my own culture, and all that. That's not what I'm saying. But just learn my own people way of doing things. You're able to convince them to do things when they see that you know them so well, right? So they want to also see that, okay, you can adapt to several cultures and, you know, different dynamics. So they would always throw some funny questions to you. You might just think it's light banter. No, that's part of the interview questions.
So you have to answer.
They would even ask you jokingly that, oh, so do you speak Japanese? Konnichiwa. They would want to get your response. Bro, they're already interviewing you. Right? They would also even test some of your abilities about, you know, adjusting to different dynamics and different environment. They will be like, oh, so what do you like about Japan? Have you read anything besides anime? Because they already know anime. Besides anime, don't tell us about anime. What exactly do you even like about Japan? Some of these questions might seem like light banter to you, but please be well prepared for them because they know what they're doing. They're trying to see that, okay, this person, I mean, they've had issues, and you're probably aware of people coming to Japan and in a month or two they're rising back to their own country that they can't survive here, they want to go back. So I think it's some sort of way of avoiding that. So them, they are putting in many checks just to see that, okay, this person is not just you know, academically fit, he also mentally fit to adjust to different situations. So they're also looking to see that as well in the interview process. So ultimately, like Ali rightly said, just be well prepared for anything. I mean, at that point, they're looking to just reduce the number drastically. So we don't want to be on
part
the
of the
side.
rejected.
So, yeah.
That's good. Thank you very much, Amy. Mansi, what do you have to say?
Okay, yeah, they've actually said a lot, but maybe I would reorganize that for the sake of those interested in things. Yeah, Agrinet. So for me, like I said, I've had two experiences. The first interview was physical and the second was virtual. And most of the interviews had like 5 panelists. And the interview is usually categorized into 3 or 4 components. Number one is about yourself.
Okay.
The second component is about your research proposal, how much you know about research proposal, and how well you can defend your research proposal. And the third component is about your knowledge of Japan, how much you know about Japan, and how much do you think your research will fit into the Japanese culture, just like he has said. And the fourth component is now basically about how you will survive the terrain or the Japan environment. Now, what they have said very importantly is about being confident. You know, I mentioned earlier that in my first application, I was not successful for the fact that my research proposal could not fit into some of the business opportunities for Japan. And like I said, I was told, I didn't know who called, but I received a call, and this person said, naturally or ordinarily, they don't call anybody, they don't disclose results. Once you are called upon for the next, you know you're successful. However, it was agreed that I should be informed that at the interview, and that's where confidence comes in, at the interview, before the end of my interview, it was almost like an informal conversation. We're more like gisting, laughing at each other, right? Because I had a proposal that was very interesting to them, and I took more time on my proposal because so many questions were coming. So how do we do this? Because my proposal was on my master's program, and this proposal was actually on camel, and a lot of features about camel. So they were asking a lot of questions about camel, the meat. In fact, at one point, they were asking, so do we eat camel meat? I said, yes. And I was telling one of the panelists that you probably have eaten camel meat, you do not know, because it's in our market.
Wow.
It's everywhere. We slaughter camels on a daily basis in large number. So all these things have to do with what you know and how confident you are. Your confidence speaks a lot about your readiness for the program and their trust in you at the end of the day. So that's basically about that. Be confident, like they have said, and know your subject matter very well. Very, very well.
Thank you very much, Mansil. Next, I want to find out, when you were applying or before you came to Japan, did you have any Japanese language ability? Yemi spoke about konnichiwa. I know that maybe you knew beyond that or you didn't know, and was it a requirement for the application? If it wasn't, did you also study on your own? I'll start with Salam.
No, it is not, what I say, it is not a cast in stone requirement.
Okay.
But as much as we always say that you do what Romans do when you go to Rome, at least the basic ideas in Japan, such as trying to interact with people, greetings and other things, you must try to learn them online if you like. Just Google and then ask yourself, how do you say good morning in Japanese? And those basic things, you should be able to know them. And so that you also get along when you arrive. I remember during my interview, after I ended, they asked whether I have a question, and I said no. I only want to say thank you to them. They were Japanese friends, and I said to the Japanese friends, I say arigato. And they were impressed.
Yeah.
Just those basic things too. It's telling them that you are ready to adapt to what
the environment
awaiting you. You get it? So you don't just need to be very fluent. And I can tell you that even as I'm here for the past 2-3 years, I'm not even fluent. Pamela is very fluent. The basic ones is just sayonara and other things. So you just need to learn basic ones and then let them know that you have that desire to fit into their culture.
Esther.
For application, Japanese language is not a requirement. If you don't know Japanese, me here, I did not know even Chuto. That's Japanese. Chuto of Japan. Japan language, but end of the day I'm here. But what JDS Ghana did is that they are very good and they are focused. If you qualify, they will make sure they train us for about 2 weeks. It's even 1 month.
Wow.
Yeah, they will schedule. You will come for a week, 2 days, all scheduled, and they will take you through. They have teachers that will take you through the basics.
Japanese.
Yes.
Wow.
So before you move, you know the basics of Japanese. When we came for the interview, after the interview, when they told us that before you leave Ghana, at least the basics of Japanese you know. We thought they were lying, but they did it.
Wow.
So there's small Japanese that they have to let you know. They will assist you and they will train you. And after coming to Japan too, they did not leave us alone. They did intensive 2 weeks classes for us, face to face, in person. And after that, when we moved to our various schools, they also did 2 weeks intensive online for all of us. So for JDS Ghana, they are on point. They will make sure what you need, you get it.
So now you understand konnichiwa.
Choto.
Konnichiwa.
I understand choto. Small.
Aliyu, what about you?
Well, I think, like they say, Japanese language is not a core requirement, but we can call it a recommended requirement. Because let me just go back to what my brother has said, that Mr. That interview is a marketing.
Yeah, something
It's a
like
marketing base.
Yes.
So you are just marketing yourself. And if you are to market your product, you have to look at what is your strength and how can you maximize your strength.
True.
And that ability to show them your willingness to integrate into their culture speak a lot. And how do you show that? Your ability to at least understand the basic Japanese language. Like Mr. Suleiman has said, that the simple arigato probably make him to succeed. So even though it is not a core requirement like English, then you need to understand the basic. Because when you speak the basic, even if they didn't understand you, at the end of the interview you say, oh, arigato gozaimashita. They will pick, you know, it's natural.
Right.
When somebody speak your language,
Yeah.
it's natural to feel that attachment.
The connection.
That connection comes naturally. So I think even though it is not a core requirement, but it's a recommended requirement, and people should learn the basic before the interview.
I like
But after the interview, like my sister has said, they do provide like intensive training. And I believe Jica, they keep on improving. I remember when 2016, they did not provide any Japanese training for us. But this time around, they do so.
Wow.
So I think they keep on improving, learning by doing, and the rest of that. But that is after you are selected. Then you can only enjoy that when you are selected. Then you have to do what can make you to be selected by learning the basic one on your own. So I think that's what I can say.
Thank you very much. Yemi?
I think it's pretty much said it all. So for languages, it's not it's not required, but highly recommended. And I'll tell you why. Remember my friend I said came from the private sector. What she did was to actually study intensive Japanese like a month before the interview, and she went in there. And by the way, for Agrinet, it's usually physical. I think during COVID-19, that was when they did virtual, but it's usually physical interview. She just went straight into the office, conversed with them for like a minute in Japanese, and we were like, Sugoi! It's like people call someone outside.
Yeah.
come and witness a miracle that is happening here. Because she did quite alright that she's already disadvantaged, that they don't know her.
Yeah, they
So
don't know her
she
company.
was well prepared
You
going
see?
in there.
Wow.
Right, she was just like, thank you, let's start. She was just conversing with them. She now said what's actually now made the whole room erupted in laughter. She literally learned the Japanese way of like, oh, I'm finished, I've run out of gas, this is everything that I know. She literally just said in Japanese and they all just laughed. And that even in some sort of way created like some sort of good environment for the interview.
Yeah.
Sure.
They were just so relaxed with her, like, oh,
No
you're already
tension.
putting effort into wanting to learn. So that is some sort of way makes you realize that knowing the basics of the language in some sort of way might actually improve your chances of getting in. And talking about language as well too, you also need proof of English proficiency, which to some extent, me, I honestly don't think it's necessary.
Yeah.
Because
I don't know why Jica
English
did.
speaking.
But the good thing is they pay for it, even if you don't have. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Jica pays for IELTS and TOEFL.
Wow,
They
Abe?
Okay, maybe for
Abe
Abe.
is special.
Yeah.
Truthfully, Abe is
Yeah.
special.
Yes.
They pay?
I'm telling that.
Ooh.
They take care of. That's the good thing about all of this scholarship.
Wow.
Even your medicals, everything they pay.
Everything.
Wow.
Okay, you pay for your medical, but they pay for COVID-19 test and
No,
everything.
for us,
No,
wow.
For
I'm
JDS, everything from A to Z, even if they
They
invite
take care
you,
of you.
they give you
No,
your
JDS,
everything.
The thing is that sometimes we don't read emails. If when Jica asks you to write for English exam, they will tell you after
You
send us the receipt
Yeah.
of payment, then they will pay you back.
Wow.
So if you did not respond to the email, then meaning you are forfeiting your money.
Yeah, you can
Actually,
pay yourself.
for Agrinet is
And
not like
again, depending on the schools, the university, some universities, English proficiency is a core requirement.
Requirements, yeah.
So if
For
the university you are
university.
applying,
It
English
is.
proficiency is a core requirement, Jica will pay for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
But if it is not a core requirement,
They won't-
Jica will not pay for
Yeah,
you.
they always clearly state that. Like
Yeah.
they said, they will tell you that if it's not a core requirement, because me, I mean, you might not listen to what I'm saying, but me, I'm just always an advocate for like, I was colonized by the British. Why do I have to prove to you that I can speak English? You could clearly hear me speak English. So I'm always of that advocate. I'm not paying anything. I'm not submitting. Even when sometimes I require for IELTS, I'll be like, I'll just submit my letter of proficiency because that works for most scholarships as well. So
Yeah,
it's about how you negotiate. Like, okay, I could actually submit a letter of proficiency stating that my bachelor's was in English,
English,
which
yeah.
it's a strong indication that I speak the language very well. So it's all about that. But nonetheless, I mean, the good thing is, like I said, Jica, they take care of you. They take care
Wow.
of you.
Especially Abe.
Yeah, especially
Abe.
Because-
Go ahead, tell us.
This is interesting.
Right?
I believe that JDS does better than us.
Yes.
Honestly,
Yes.
from where I'm coming from for the maths exam, whatever, the law,
pay.
whatever,
Wow.
whatever.
No,
Even if I require accommodation, I tell them they'll give it.
Wow.
no, the thing is that Jica take care of all the responsibilities from the point
When they've selected you,
they selected you.
it's
From
important
that
to
point,
mention
they started investing on
Oh,
you.
yeah. That's the only way.
In fact, even if, for example, where you stay, there is no examination center, you have to move to another state.
Okay.
They will pay for your transportation fee.
Wow.
But that means you are 98% selected.
Sure.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they will not invest their
Yes,
money
yeah.
in you. So that's how it is.
I see. What do you have to say?
Well, for me, Agrinet, I have quite a different experience
Okay.
because in the form, application form, in the detailed form, it is written that you are expected to provide English proficiency. And again, it is written that you are responsible for your expenses for that. So this is from the Agrinet point of view. And however, other things are just as they have said. And a lot of things actually are similar.
Okay.
And basically that's where the difference is. You are just to take care of that yourself, and then your selection is very key, because the truth about it is just like they said, is that interview and confidence, particularly for the language. Like I said, the interview is divided into 4 components.
Yes.
And there's a part where you should tell them how much you know about
Japan.
And there's also a part where you demonstrate your readiness to move to Japan. And one of your ability to demonstrate readiness to moving to Japan is at least knowing something about the language, right? That is basic, because you need to communicate when you get there. Like for me, in the first interview, it started, all I did was to try and know the greetings. I know what time my interview is going to be, and I got to know what good morning is for my interview in Japanese. And I went there, immediately I was told to have a seat. They said good morning to you, Mansur, and I now replied good morning in Japanese. And that started it all. And yeah, at the end of the meeting, I also said arigatou gozaimasu. And one of them, I remember, I was just laughing, like this guy is really serious. But of course, these are things that will make them feel you are ready to actually integrate into the system.
Thank you very much. Before we take a few questions from the audience, I want to ask about the silence after you've been selected. That silence, and also the visa application. I want you all to tell us about your experience, because I know in my different mixed scholarship, I had that silence for months, and I want to know about it for the Jica and JDS scholarships too. So I'll start with Salam, Mr. Patience.
The silent, you must be silent just like the word silent. Yeah, because you have been told that you are qualified. And just go in there, keep on praying that you survive beyond the period they are talking about. And be very, very confident that no one touches your opportunity. In fact, JDS are so very, very careful and very caring to the extent that I remember during my master's selection, there was, after I was told that I've been chosen, there was flooding in Tamale, seriously. JDS had to call me to find whether I was very safe or whatever. They want to carry me along, because, so they are always very, once they've chosen you, the process of your visa and whatever is done. So they will not do anything to alter it, because it will mean that they have to go back and start afresh. And that's quite a problem. So they are always ready to go by their decision. And if you observe, Sewa, the one in Ghana coordinating it has reported to Jica JDS in Japan that we have selected this number of students, and these are the names. So Jica JDS Tokyo expect that these names will arrive in Japan in August. So the one in Ghana is very, very careful dealing with you, because she cannot send a number less than that, and the names different should be taken on. So if you are ready to depart, she's always around. She will go to the airport with you, and then make sure that she delivers you to the flight.
Wow.
Then call JDS that these people have left. You'll be at the airport and somebody is also from
With a car.
waiting for you.
Wow.
So being patient, just be patient. Don't go looking for big men or whatever to find out whatever. Don't decide. When it is time for them to call you, they will call you.
Okay, thank you. Esther, what do you have to say?
Yeah, what I have to say is, when JDS selects you, you become their property. They own you. They make sure you are 100% safe. And for their communication, they are on point. Any information that you need, they will communicate to you. When we were coming, my colleague, the course he was coming to do, there was an issue with the supervisor. JDS called him and asked him, the program we gave you, we are not getting a supervisor, but this program is available like the other program, and that one we have a supervisor for you. And what was so beautiful of it is that they asked for your consent first do you like it or not? And he said, yes, I like it. Before they processed it for him. So anything they do for you, they ask for your consent first. And with the visa, me here, I don't know how the visa application is. I don't know what it takes to take a visa. We went there, they said, when you are coming, come along with your passport, that's all. We went and submitted the passport to them. They called us for a week Japanese lessons program. And after the program, we all fixed it. They said, this will go to the embassy, go and take your passport. And that one, they would have even taken it for us but the embassy want to see you personally before they issue it. So if you say the visa application, you as an individual, you don't have a hand in it. You don't do anything. The only aspect of you that you do is just submit your passport. The next time you have your passport, you have your visa. That's also so simple, so easy. You don't have anything to think about.
Where you are called upon is maybe when there's a demand of a signature, but the process filling of the form, whatever is done by JDS, they'll send you a copy to check. Whatever. Yes, it's very simple. If you qualify, you become like an egg.
For
Handling
them.
Wow.
you get hatched in Japan, not
I see.
seriously.
Ali, what do you have to say to?
Well, I think to allow the participant to ask questions, the process is the same. Once you get that selected, you don't have a hand in visa application. You just submit your passport and they will process it and give you. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same too. I think we should just give an overview of what the timeline looks like so they know how long they have to be patient.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So usually, Jica just dispatched this new set in October, right? A week after they got to Japan, a week after they got here, they are sending nomination out
For the
again
next
for
batch.
the next year batch. So that is already when you start your process. And guess what? You do interview maybe around December, January. They will send the documents like around March, and you won't hear anything for like 3 or 4 months.
Nice.
And in that 3 or 4 months, I don't know if it's okay to say this one, I actually even already got a job with an international organization. I was planning to leave the country like maybe 2 weeks before Dr. Zama called me. Hello, your scholarship. I say, hey, which scholarship? I said, which
You
scholarship?
forgotten about
I totally forgot. Honestly, I forgot about them. Because like I said, I'd already gotten a very good job. I was like, okay, this is good life, moving on. Then they called me like, oh no, you can't go. I said, oh yeah, come and tell me that. What do you mean? Because it was one of the feedback that I actually even gave them. Even during our orientation, I was like, I don't think any scholarship in the world takes this much time
It's
to
a whole
do.
year.
Right.
It's a whole year process.
Like, it's a very tedious process. And we gave them the feedback that it would actually be nice if they could streamline these processes. But like Salam has been saying, you just have to be extremely patient and just take your time with them. For the visa application, shout out to GBK of Jica. She will literally just take care of you. You don't even have to go to the embassy. You don't have to undo everything. You don't need to step your foot into the embassy. They just ask you to send a document and they'll take care of everything for you.
Okay,
That's it.
thank you. Mansur?
Yes, thank you. I think they said virtually the same thing. At a point when the silence was too much for me, what I did to console myself was to go back to the form again and see the timeline, because there's a timeline there. So when I look at the timeline and I feel, okay, we still have some time, okay, I get consoled. Yeah, but the silence is really, from March you don't get to hear anything, especially when it also has to do with your university.
Yeah.
For instance, in my own case, there was supposed to be a meeting at Hiroshima University at my department or my graduate school to conclude the admission process. And this meeting was delayed. In the timeline it said this time. And I was asked to write a mail to my graduate school, which I did. And they told me the meeting is going to take place, she said initially, mid-September. Mid-September went nothing. At the end of September, nothing. What's happened? No, sorry, not September. Mid-April also, nothing. No, August, around August. I had to like write another mail to the graduate school you said mid-September, mid-so, but I'm not hearing from you. She now had to apologize that the meeting has been postponed for another time. And what really was the consolation at that point, she said, don't worry, just be preparing to come to Japan.
Wow.
You are okay. And that was all. I just left everything. Okay, I know I'm done with this.
I think, to be fair, I think in my own case, I think IDEC student support is probably the reason why I'm in Japan. Yeah, because like I said, I'd already accepted a new offer. I was moving on. I was just going to like conclude everything with my own company. Then I got a mail from IDEC student support talking about one thing. I was like, eh?
You are coming. You
I was
are
like, I
coming.
picked this university. If these guys are already sending me things like orientation, that means they picked me. So I had to tell the company I was going to shut up aside. Then again, and I waited another 3 weeks before Jack actually got back. I guess they were doing their internal screening then, because they actually said it that the university is not going to give you the results. They will give you the results. But like I said, IDEC already snitched by sending me the details, so I already got.
And that was actually good because that helped you
That
decide.
helped me to decide, because I would have already started with the company. I was supposed to move to Kenya first. I was like, okay, moving away from Nigeria already. But I had to like tell them that, oh, hold on, I think there's something in line for me, and I don't want to go back on my words and all that. So yeah, shout out to the
And
students.
lastly, for the visa, just like you said,
Okay.
I think I submitted my passport a week, like this Thursday. By next Thursday, I got my passport and I left Friday.
Ooh.
So like
It's
just
very,
some.
it's a
Because
rush hour.
the passport got to the Jica office Thursday evening before closure, just some minutes before closure. I didn't even go. I sent someone to take the passport, and then they acknowledged receipt. And I was told to come to Jica office for orientation next Thursday. I came Thursday. Of course, I was being told already that my departure is Friday, but I didn't have a visa.
Nothing.
I don't know how that was going to happen. When I got to Jica office Thursday, after the orientation, I was told you just wait for your passport. And I had my passport with my visa, and the next day I was off.
Wow.
So it was really.
That's swift.
So one of the things we need to know in Japan, they are very, very diligent in terms of going about things. That's why sometimes they describe their institutions as the bureaucratic. They call it the bureaucratic because they think it's a project. JICA is highly connected to the Japanese embassies. They work hand in hand. So whatever they are doing, they communicate. Sometimes for us, JDS, before you even depart, you have to go and say goodbye to the ambassador. Even if you arrive, they will still take you back.
Wow.
So they are very connected. In terms of visa applications, once the school has accepted whatever, JICA handles it. There's no stress about that.
Okay, thank you. So there are two questions here. The first one is, what does this scholarship cover, and is the stipend paid on time? And the other one is, in case you came for masters, is it easy to continue to PhD? Yes, I think Salam spoke about that, so whoever wants to go first can go.
Okay.
For JDS.
Okay, for JDS, if you are on masters, the thing is, it's a contract between your organization, the government, and Japanese government. The thing is, when you finish, you have to return back home and serve your country. So after serving for a certain period, before you can apply or come as a PhD student. And when we come in, we ask the question that even if I'm here and I get, I apply for PhD and I have admission, they said, if anything, you communicate with them first. If there's something that they have to do for you to do it, they know how to do, but you can't on your own start a PhD course without them knowing anything. Because your scholarship is for 2 years. And continue with PhD, it means you are finding yourself or what. So if anything, you have to communicate with them first.
Okay.
And the payment of the stipend is on time. If they fix the date, that date will be paid. It will change when it's a weekend or a holiday.
so you get your money on time.
And
Ali,
you
do you get your money on time?
Well, for me, for the question of money payment, just pray to get the scholarship. You don't have any issue to worry about the payment. Whatever you see on the scholarship document, they are not going. They will pay it, and when they pick the date for the payment, once it is 12 p.m., the next minute, if you are by the ATM side, you will check your account. It has already entered. Then about the PhD scholarship, I think the scholarship here, they are different, depending on the scholarship you applied or you are already enrolled. If you are in ABE initiative, it is purely masters. So there is no PhD attached to it. And if you are in SDG, then it has a master's and PhD component. But we cannot say about SDG because the first set of SDG masters, they are not graduated. So we are waiting to see what is going to happen. But there is another scholarship that we did not talk about, which is mixed scholarship. Very powerful scholarship in Japan. And in mixed scholarship, you can go for PhD immediately. You finish your you finish your master's scholarship.
So, Ali, don't stress yourself. Pamela is a nice scholar.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I think she has done a video.
Okay.
She has done something
I've
for
actually
next.
done something.
Okay. So let me leave that
No,
one.
but you can.
But for IB, I'm talking this one because I did not reach that level. When you are your second year, because in IB there is internship component of it. 6 months internship after you graduate. So 3 months or 6 months to your graduation, Jica office will tell you that if you want to apply for PhD, you should not apply for long-term internship. So if you have intention to go for PhD, meaning from your second year, you can start looking for professor. But that one is not IB scholarship. You are applying for a different scholarship. Maybe you are applying next PhD scholarship, or you are applying maybe SDG PhD scholarship, or whatever scholarship. You can do that. So you have to think whether you are going for PhD or not. But again, your scholarship will determine whether you can go for PhD or not.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Yemi?
My God said it.
Oh, guys, that's all. We greet you.
Yeah, I said everything. So,
Is your money paid, Yemi? Is it paid on time?
Come on, yes. So they pay the money on time, like everyone has attested to that. It's the same thing. The money comes in handy, and however, okay, for the private sector, you have to be very careful, extremely careful, because all these guys here, maybe they still have 1 or 2 that they are getting from their own company. But for me, I'm a broke man. I've been detached away from my company, so my company does not have me on their payroll anymore, right? So it's some of the conversations that we've also been telling Jica that you can't subject me to the same condition that you're subject to this
Public sector?
because they are still earning, but I'm
Of
not
course,
earning.
yeah.
Okay, but all in all, the stipend is very much okay for you to get by here in Japan, so it's still okay. But for AP, I think Aliyu is much experienced, and he has said everything there is to be said about how to proceed to PhD. So yeah.
So maybe because you are from the private sector, the Japanese government do not have control of private.
Yes, over
Because
your
of the-
finances.
But with the government sector, it's a bilateral agreement.
Yeah, but so that is some sort of way means they should be able to allow me to work. So
Yeah,
they
that's
should be able
true.
to give you a work permit.
they should be able to give me a work permit.
So that means all of you are not allowed to work.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, it's better to state that on camera.
Yeah.
So that we're
You are not allowed
we are
to
not
work.
working.
Especially our African brothers. Let's be very measured with like you see, the first question is about the stipend. Another thing for me, I would have also the first target is about you getting that knowledge and the certificate. You see that no one has told you that some people have come here and now they are malnourished or they are dead out of hunger. No matter the amount of the amount that you are given, know that there's a particular target you have ahead to get a certificate, get back to your country. You see that? Whether I know there will be a next question to say whether it is enough to cater for us. It's not about luxury. Even back home, your salary is not enough. You get it. Anyway,
it's just okay to get by.
But in all fairness, the stipend is enough for a normal life.
A normal life, I like that.
Yeah, you can only laugh when you went into what the economics are calling risky health behaviors. When you go into behaviors that are irrational, then you can spend the money.
Exactly.
But normal life, decent life, is very okay.
I mean, people must have watched mixed the same.
Mixed. They said it was enough for them to survive.
Yeah, actually, I remember very well before we left, the Jica, one of the Jica officials back home said something. There was a question actually about the stipend, and this man said something. He said, we are not giving you money that you're going to spend and even have a lot to come and build home back.
Yeah, exactly.
We are giving you just enough for you to survive.
And focus.
Yeah, and focus. And it's actually enough for you to live the required life that will make you succeed in your program, and it's actually on time.
So that's why they insist that as a government, you should be qualified for steady leave. There's nothing like you saying that you want to transfer money to your family, your kids, school fees and whatever. No, your steady leave, the salary is paid, and they expect that one will take care of
your family, and the one here will take care of you.
So what about me with 4 wives and 10
So you with 4 wives,
no,
you with 4 wives and whatever. It's unfortunate the stream in which you are followed. Right? already, you see, when we were back home, you were in the private sector. We have that idea that private sector pays more than us.
Yes, public sector.
More than the public sector. So when we were already home, you were
making enough.
So it has come to balance. you have saved enough.
I think my company, they will see this video, do better. Do better.
This is very
interesting.
Then we need to discuss it after
this one. Yes. So the last thing is on the work permits. Another question is, if you are not allowed to work, what if you get TA positions with your professor? Is that allowed?
Actually, for do I?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Recently, I received a bunch of documents from Jica that talks about your stay here, the do's and don'ts, and the rest. And in that document, it actually stated that you are allowed to do TA jobs, and even if apart from TA job, if there's a job within your university that the university is offering you through your supervisor or somebody, you're actually allowed to do so. So I think it's
so that means you need the approval of your supervisor to do something like that.
And Jica, the main idea is to make sure that you finish your course within the stipulated time. So they don't want people to engage in other activities that will not give them the opportunity or that will not allow them to finish the program within. So job opportunities within the institution. Surely the institution knows that you are a student and they know the number of credit hours you are doing, and they do not need to burden you on certain things. So that one is allowed. But outside, where our Ghanaian brothers who have come from Nigeria, they have Japan.
Ghanaian brothers have come from Nigeria.
Our Nigerian brothers who have come, they have Japan. They want money to go and build mansions. And like the ambassador said, it's not to come and make money and build mansions. They are coming to stay. You need to go back with a certificate, a document. That is very criminal.
What the Nigerians said, I know before. The Ghanaians are the one building homes back home.
Maybe Suleimana will force me to talk about jollof rice, but I decided not to.
Exactly.
The truth of the matter is that as a Jica scholar, you can work as TA
Okay.
or research assistant.
Okay.
I remember during my master's, I worked as TA for almost 1 year. And the whole idea about work or no work is about, can you be able to graduate within the time frame? Because if they leave it open, you can go and work. You might likely even forget the studies and continue with your work.
working.
And if you could not graduate within the time, Jica, they have a fixed budget for you. And they don't want to extend to that budget. The budget is that they must spend everything on you. No more, no less. So when you are focusing on your studies, your work, you leave the studies, meaning you are creating a shock to them. So they don't want that. So what I would say, the idea of work or not work, as you are coming to Japan, that should not be a priority. Even for the TA or research assistant, you have to understand first the academic, the performance. If you think your performance is okay, you can graduate, then you go. So even when the policy allow you to work, please just wait and understand the situation.
That's true.
It's like what Mr. Suleimana has said. The whole idea, the primary objective is for you to graduate with a good result. Then all other things follow. So that's what I would say.
I think, just like he has said, I remember I was told that what Jica does most times is that, you're supposed to be, there should be reports coming about your progress with Jica. That if it is looking to Jica that you are likely not meeting up with your timeline, the first thing Jica does is to be on your supervisor. It is your supervisor or your professor that is going to answer why you are behind your schedule. So even the professors, somebody told me, we had a gist with some professors. One of the professors said, that's why the way they look at Jica scholars is a bit different, because they sometimes receive pressure from Jica office because of students. So they don't want, they feel it's a trouble to delay any Jica student. Let him just conclude and go. So it's to show, that's to show how much Jica feels you should finish within the timeline stipulated for you.
Thank you all very much. This has been a very interactive session, and we'll take some last words from our scholars here. Any last words they want to say to you? We'll start with Esther.
Okay, thank you. All that I would say is Japan government and our various countries' governments, they have good intentions for us. If you are a public worker, it's an advantage, an opportunity for you to grab it. Financing yourself in a higher education is not that easy. So if there's an advantage like this to let you have the education without paying a dime to it, it's good to go for it. So I will encourage others to not let the process be a hindrance or discourage them. They should see it as a challenge and go through the process, and when they are determined, they will surely be successful in it. And I want to add, if you are applying, don't have that fear. The scholarship is 100%. It takes care of everything from A to Z. So I encourage everybody to partake in it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Except for people who have more wives.
4 wives.
4 wives. 4 wives and 10 children.
Okay, Salam, any last words?
Oh, just like Esther said, that opportunity of scholarship is for everyone. It's not selective that you must know somebody before you get that opportunity. For one, I never knew anybody. And it is after the scholarship that maybe you even have the opportunity to interact with people and you know them. I started with that. Just applying from Tamale, and you get a call, you have been selected for the next year. So it's just be confident about what you are doing. Our people, or maybe my colleagues, some development, you talk to them about the scholarship and say there's exam, there's interview, and what it scares them. And it is humans that you can interview. You can't interview robots. You get it? You must be examined, or you must be interviewed on certain things so that you qualify for something. People just want to be told that there's a scholarship. Bring your name, then you are traveling. No, you cannot take, they say, garbage in, garbage out. You cannot take in chaff and then you will expect a refined thing. You will still get back chaff. So our brothers and sisters are there. Just get yourself prepared, challenge yourself, and then you also have the opportunity to travel and stay.
Thank you very much. Ali, you, the last word?
Well, my last word for them is actually with proper planning and patience, you are very close to Japan.
Wow.
So congratulations, and we look forward to see you next year.
Yay! We can't wait. Yemi, your last word?
I would encourage anyone who's looking to try their luck, they should. I mean, don't be deterred by some of the processes, how tedious it is here. If we're here, what makes you think you can't be here? So,
Right.
I mean, we've done it, so you can obviously do it. And also one thing is, you can always reach out to Pamela. She will reach out to any one of us here if some sort of you guys need assistance preparing your documents. We're more than happy to help people. I mean, our African community is growing bigger each year, and we want it to even double by next year. So, I mean, we're not skipping any opportunities. We want more people to, enjoy some of those opportunities. But just like we rightly said, it's a golden opportunity. It's not something that comes easy. You need to also be, fully ready to, to enjoy this benefit as well too. So ultimately, I wish everyone who was looking to apply all the very best, and we look forward to seeing them next year.
What's your last word?
Yeah, for me, they said there's a saying that what is worth doing is worth doing well.
Well,
There is no opportunity that you cannot try. But what you need is the confidence to do so. So for me, whatever opportunity, Jica especially, is a good opportunity that you would not regret having. So just be confident, and I'm sure you can pull it because we are all here. And well, with apologies to every other scholarship, in Japan, Jica is.
that's all.
So be in the Jica.
Thank you all so much. Let's give it up for our scholars.
Can we say one last word too?
Yeah.
Nigerian jollof.
Please.
Unfortunately for you, when we want to vote, it's going to be 50-50.
Right?
Three
To be
against,
three.
Okay, so we leave it.
And there is no way there will be a spoiled ballot.
Right. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. You can do all to rewatch. You can reach out to me if you need any help. But do all to get prepared. And as you've heard from all the scholars, you need to be prepared. And you also have to be ready with your documents as well. So that's all for our session today. See you in another session. Bye. Good job.
So
Okay.
Sulemana is 50-50, right?
He's a 50-50.
When you have electoral committee that can change
Yeah,
where you
yeah,
have
yeah.
Africa, so that 50-50.
We know Nigerians.
This election,
You can declare results in the afternoon, and the ballots are in the morning. Yes, I understand.
So